Good evening, everybody. I'm Shay Ali here with you on Inspired Online. And this evening we have my beautiful big brother, Mr. Krish Surroy.
Hello.
Hello. Now, I've had Big Brother on here before. Now, that sounds bad when you just call it Big Brother. I've had Krish on here before.
Yeah, it does sound a bit sinister, doesn't it? Let's face it.
Brother is watching. No, the reason that he's my big brother, he's not blood big brother, but definitely soul big brother,
Mm.
because he's someone that is so wise and amazing and warm and has been a huge, huge, huge gift to my life. So, when I have those places when, I need a bit of help and I get stressed and stuff, Krish is someone that, is really like my big brother. So,
Oh.
yeah, he's very, very special to me. He's done a lot of things over the years. He's set up a company called Mavericks. He has helped men, CEOs deal with, how to be more masculine, how to be more productive, how to find people's purpose. And he has just started a podcast about the sacred wild. So that is more in
Mm.
the line of what we're going to be talking about today, and was recently featured in the Guardian newspaper about, in this time where people are, turning their backs on the city, um, what to do instead. And he's one of the people that also did that, which is why he was talking to the Guardian. So, all absolutely fascinating. And well, so thank you first for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. And it's like you say about me being your big brother. You're definitely my soul sister. So I just love spending time with you, and you know that. So and it's great to be here, and it's great to be with everyone at Inspired. Mwah! Um, this is a great thing you've been doing. God, how long has Inspired been going now? Like 6 years?
Yeah, we started January 2014 with our live events. Fingers crossed, if we are, hopefully, if we can believe Boris Johnson, we might be back to normal at Easter. Let's see.
Yeah,
But
let's see on that one.
one day our live events will be back. But for now,
Yeah,
we love the live format. So let's go for the magic live format question, or the
yeah,
online format. I mean, live. It's live and online.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What if you had to share your wisdom with the world in a nutshell, what would you say?
That's a really, really great question. And I've had as you say, I've been on here before, but I've had the privilege of speaking a couple of times at the events, and it's
Yeah.
always such a great question. For me, let's face it, we find ourselves at a really strange time in history. It's a
Yeah.
very, very strange time. And just talking about the Guardian for a second, I mean that was referring to they were looking for like an op-ed piece on people who had moved to the country during COVID. And I saw this, and before I even knew what I was doing, I was just like typing away. I
Yeah.
uploaded a photo and then uploaded it. Didn't even think about it. And then the journalist got in touch and said, can we use your piece? I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. When's it coming out? Nothing, didn't hear anything. And
Yeah.
suddenly, like one Saturday morning about 6 weeks ago, I woke up to all these messages from clients, from friends, kind of going, oh my God, you're in the Guardian. And there I was, bright as day, kind of with this whole piece about moving to the country during COVID. So what's the wisdom? As you know, I've been, I stand with a foot in two worlds.
Mm.
So on the one hand, like my quote unquote day job, my Clark Kent job, if you like, I look like an executive coach. I look like a business psychologist. But then my kind of night job is I'm a spiritual teacher. I am an intuitive guide, and I'm a shamanic practitioner. And what I've noticed in my own personal journey is the earth and nature is becoming more important. And
Mm.
like during lockdown back in March, the first lockdown, the one thing we were allowed to do, right, was go out to nature, go outdoors, exercise. But it was like this sudden reconnection with the outdoors.
Mm.
And one of my ambitions. So my partner and I, basically, our ambition is to start spending 6 months a year in Canada, to
Yes.
go out to the wild. And there's that word, wild. Um, we have this year we have been unable to spend time with loved ones. We've been unable to largely do the things we love doing. We've largely been unable to travel. We've been having to conform to a lot of rules. And I'm
Mm.
not one of those people that's a rabble rouser that's like break the rules, but we've been very domesticated this year.
Yes, we have. Yeah, true.
And and as human beings, we live in a very domesticated way. We live in, the closest we come to living in jungles is concrete jungles.
Mm.
So there's been this whole kind of journey it's unfolded for me this year, and I've been seeing it, that this connection back to nature and people finding holism in nature.
Mm.
I mean, God, even I have this strange fascination, right, with the BBC show Country File.
Aw,
You
I never
know,
knew this.
yeah, absolutely. I'm an avid. It's like my guilty pleasure is Country File. And for all the
Oh,
times that I lived in the city, um, I'd watch this program looking at all this green space, all this greenery, and really wanting to like be in it. And one of the things that's true about nature is nature resonates at the vibration of unconditional love. All that green, if you think about it, it's all heart chakra, but nature is unconditional. It's just there. So I was kind of guessing, I was kind of feeling that. And then even like the weekend before last, the program was dedicated to the healing power of nature.
wow.
And it's a bit of a zeitgeist that's kind of coming back now. More and more people are getting interested in indigenous kind of wisdom, in things like shamanism and druidry, in just going for walks in the forest.
Yeah.
And so much of what we face in the world right now really comes from our disconnection with our system, our environment.
Mm.
So if I had a piece of wisdom, if it boiled down to one thing, it would be get out to nature.
Okay.
But it's about becoming whole. That's what it's about.
Yeah. Well, let's unpick a little bit of that. Um,
Mm.
a lot of people, I live in London, as you know, and we're not really surrounded by nature in London, although I think that's a myth. That is something that people will tell you, and I do not believe it to be true.
So let me just say something right there and then. London, because of the amount of green space, if you look at like how land is classified, because of the amount of green space in London, London is actually classified as a forest.
Wow. Wow.
It actually is, because of the amount of green space. There's a lot of green space in London.
Yeah. Moving on from that, and I've been enjoying quite a lot of it. I mean, even going to like my local park, which I like to see as Golders Hill. It's not the nearest, but I love it.
It's
So
beautiful.
that's where I go. Um, you know, um, if you are not someone that is used to like enjoying Britain's outdoor spaces or any outdoor spaces, wherever
Yeah.
you are, what is the first thing that you would suggest to do to really foster that connection with nature again?
Really, really great question. And I think, look, it's one thing for someone like me who is kind of white middle class. And I've just moved, as you say, to the countryside.
Mm.
Uh, One thing to say, go out. Not everyone has that ability. However, everyone can take a step outside their front door, and
Yeah,
everyone can look up at the sky.
yeah,
And have you ever, let's face it, when we were kids, we would spend vast amounts of time like looking up to the sky, looking at clouds, kind of go, oh, that looks like I don't know, a dog, or that looks like a car, or that kind of thing.
mm,
But one of the things we can do as human beings is we can kind of sky gaze. We can go outside, even if it's just opening the front door, or even going to a window and
yeah,
just like looking out. And looking out just for the hell of looking out, and just looking out and looking upwards. Um, and what it actually does is this all ties into mindfulness as well.
mm,
This ties into kind of right brain thinking. It ties into thinking fast and slow.
mm,
Um, if you literally gaze, you actually open up a different faculty of the brain. You pull yourself out of everyday awareness, and it actually opens up more creative states of consciousness.
wow,
Do that for 5 minutes, you'll immediately feel better.
wow. Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, why is it important? But you've answered that. So let's talk to the people who, during the first lockdown here in England and,
Mm,
well, the UK, I should say, we all had the right to go out for half an hour for exercise.
hmm
But some people didn't even do that. Some people literally just sat in their house. Um, why is it important that we actually do get outside?
Right. Again, really great question. There was a study that was done kind of not so long ago in the States that said and showed that most people in the US spend over 90% of their time indoors,
Yeah.
which is an insane amount. And, the average person in the West spends over 80 hours on a screen of some description. So
Yeah.
whether it's one of like this or whether it's more likely something like a smartphone, that's great. Why is it important? Because we biologically and genetically are, we're meant to be outdoors at least part of the time. You know, the science actually kind of backs this up now. Our bodies actually relax, our attention opens up. Um, and we become kind of more attuned to our surroundings. We become more attuned. Let's face it, most people are rushing through their lives. Even in lockdown, most people are stuck on, they're getting Zoom gloom, as they call it. You
Soon.
know, Zoom gloom, that's what it's called. It's a thing. When you think about like the terms for this year that the Oxford Dictionary is going to bring out, Zoom gloom will probably be one of them. It's really important because it's so restorative. You know, Shelter's important, but we were, this kind of nature connection. It's not just as neighbours. Let's go. It's about coming back to a healthy whole. So when you go outside, and you know this, from things like sailing and that kind of stuff,
Yeah, absolutely.
um, it actually it's really restorative to our well-being. It's really restorative to our mental health, um, and it's a way of getting back to being grounded. There's the word. Most of us spend most of our time not grounded. So yeah,
And what is being grounded?
grounded for me. So I've had this thing about a lot of spirituality for several years, not being that relevant because it's just not very practical. It's like imagine, believe, and you'll receive, and all this kind of stuff. And for me, the most important thing about any kind of spirituality, or indeed any kind of personal growth, is it has to be embodied. It has to be embodied. So what does grounded mean? It means embodying, it means being in your space. It means embodying and being able to feel your feet on the ground. One of the things about that is most of us spend our time with our feet on the ground in shoes. So when was the last time, for example, that you went outside into your garden and put your bare feet on the grass?
I don't ever do that, to be honest.
Right. If you want to know how to ground like that, go outside, put your feet on the grass, and feel the grass. And even if it's a bit wet,
I don't have any grass in my garden, I should say. So.
okay, fair enough. But whichever way, even just going outside, and even if you've just got concrete there, just going out and putting your feet outside would immediately ground you because we connect energetically straight down to the center of the earth. So grounded means being fully in your body, fully in touch with the earth. And when you're grounded, again, your mind isn't kind of all over the place. It's like you're here, you're right. And let's face it, when it comes to like personal power, the only place where there is any personal power is right here, right now, in the center, grounded.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's what grounded is for me at least.
Okay. Well, a few places we could go from there, but what if you don't like where you are right here, right now? Just on the back of your last comment, when you said
Yeah,
the only place is right here, right now. We have so many people out there at the moment that really despise right here, right now.
yeah. Again, it's a really great observation, and there are a lot of people that don't love that. But the thing about it is, and it's not to diminish anyone's experience, but most of what we don't love right here, right now, is actually not to do with the, before we even get to the physical space we're in, or even the circumstances we're in. there's the mental and emotional state that we're in internally, right?
Mm.
And that's usually, as we know, you know this, related to projecting into the future with either a sense of longing or a sense of anxiety,
Mm.
projecting into the past with a sense of nostalgia or depression.
Mm.
Whereas right here, right now, it's like when you're truly in the present, right here, right now, okay, it might not be ideal, but it's generally nowhere near as bad as we think it is.
Yeah.
And right now, in these circumstances, in this crazy world where there's so much stuff coming at us, you know, whether it's kind of, you know, the pandemic, Brexit, the US election, you know, you can see it, the mental worrying that happens.
Mm.
So actually, a big part of this is about how do you just come back to stopping the worrying, saying, right, okay, I might not love my circumstances out here, but am I okay in my own body? Am I okay in my own skin?
Mm.
Pretty much, yeah.
Mm. And I love that, it's so important to go back to, what is a gift? And, perhaps that gift is, well, you're alive. That's a gift.
Hmm.
And
Absolutely.
yeah. So,
Absolutely. Well, the most important thing here is you're alive, but more to the point, in a time when we feel like we don't have many choices,
mm,
you know, when we are domesticated, you know, one of the things that kind of going out to nature does is it opens up that wild faculty for us. It starts to introduce those kind of parts of us that are a bit more wild again. And what introduces back is we're not complete, you know, we're not without a choice.
mm,
That's what I think a lot of people are finding really difficult right now. It feels like we don't have many choices.
mm,
Actually, you have a choice as to whether you're in this moment. You have a choice as to whether you're breathing deeply, looking, you know, taking self-care. We had a conversation before we started, right, about, you know, self-care is transformational,
yeah.
you know, and therefore you have a choice as to whether I'm going to spaz out and kind of go crazy about what's going on, or whether I'm actually just going to choose to be here right now,
Mm, completely agree.
you know?
Completely agree. So let's go back to, at the beginning of this conversation, we were talking about
Mm,
getting out into nature. And I'm fascinated by this question, which is why do different places feel different? So, one of the things I said to you is I go up to Golders Hill.
yep.
Um, yeah, I haven't been like in the last couple of weeks, but it's one of the places I truly love to go. Now, is there a
Hmm.
park that is nearer to me? Even though Golders Hill is about a 20-minute drive, it's not far.
Mm.
But I've got one that's a 5-minute walk away, and I never go there. I wouldn't go there. I'm actually horrified just thinking about it. It's a park, it's got green, and
Mm.
yeah, no, I sound like such a snob. Sorry,
It's all good. It's all good.
not going there. Why do different places feel different?
Well, let me ask you this first. Just quite. When you go to Golders Hill,
Hmm.
how do you feel?
Ah, really nice.
Yeah.
I used to go there as a child, uh,
Mm.
so it reminds me of that. Do you remember that program, Heartbeat, with
Oh
Tony
yeah,
Hart?
yeah, yeah.
So, when I was a child, that was like one of the programs I used to like. So he used to go there, and one day we saw him there out walking, and
Oh wow,
he's
wow.
happy, and it's got these little ducks and deer, and yeah, it's just stunning. I love it.
Yeah. So look, I mean, as you're talking about, you can see it on your face, right? And you can
Yeah.
almost see you like remembering the memories of it.
Mm.
So it not only has personal attachment, personal memories to you,
Yeah.
but the really important word here is resonance.
Mm.
You know, it has resonance to you. You know,
Yeah.
it has a sympathetic or a resonant vibration to you. You know, you have to always, always, always come back to vibration with this. You know, so the notion is everything in the universe has a vibration. Everything is vibrating. And again, we've been saying this spiritually for thousands of years now. The science backs it up, right?
Mm.
And the truth is, there are just, you know, we as a person, we have a signature vibration
Mm.
that is different to anything else in the universe,
Mm.
right? I like to think of each one of us as being like a player in a divine orchestra, and there's a part in the orchestra or in the symphony that only we can play. So we have like this vibration of our own, and we go to some places like your local park.
Mm.
And there'll be some people that you go to your local park and feel really at home there, you know.
Yeah.
And it's got nothing, and it's not a personal thing. It's not you don't sound like a snob or anything for it. It's just like it's not resonant for you. You
No.
know, whereas, you know, I mean, I'm fortunate because I mean, I was very fortunate. I lived in Hove, as you know, which is a beautiful part of East Sussex. It's a very cool town next to Brighton.
And you're near
And
the beach.
absolutely,
Yeah.
I literally was 5 minutes from the beach, right, and looking out over this vast vista of the sea, and yet it didn't work for me.
Mm.
You know, I was going to see less and less and less, and it just wasn't feeding me. So
Yeah.
so coming right to your question,
Yeah.
you know, it's not just about any nature, it's not just about any outdoors, it's about knowing what feeds you. So for me, it's forests, it's green, it's earth. Whereas for other people, they just want to look out and see it's water, you know.
Mm.
But now I'm lucky, I have like 5 forests within a 5 minute drive of where I live.
No.
And I go to, but the word there is resonant.
Yeah.
I'm very much an earth energy. And so therefore trees and earth, and that smell of like the damp earth when it's been raining, it's like heaven. It's almost like cocaine actually. It's kind of like, oh my God, you know, I can almost get high on it. And
Yeah.
that's what it is. It's about those places that have sympathetic or dissonant vibration with you.
Mm.
And again, we just feel it in our bodies like that, right?
Yeah.
But the other part that can go with that, of course, is curiosity.
Yes.
So having curiosity around what is it that's resonant with us about a particular place. Or if a place isn't resonant, what is that? What's going on there? Because
Mm.
there'll always be something.
Yeah. No,
Does that make
definitely.
sense?
No, of course it makes sense, and it definitely feels very real to me. Some people might think, why would you take a 20-minute drive to go to a park? And I'm like, well, actually, I really enjoy the drive too.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And let's face it, a lot of people would drive further to go to the shopping mall, right? When they can. So
Yeah, yeah.
why not 20 minutes to go to a park or to a forest or to a wood or even to a duck pond? You know,
Why not? Indeed. So,
absolutely.
let's talk about this then. You and I have done a little bit of this together, and certainly seen other people do it as well. But there's certain rituals you can do in nature as well. So, if
Yeah.
are there any tips or rituals that you can give to people? Maybe to those that are starting out and maybe feel a bit silly doing something like that. What can you do to make you feel safe, and why would that be good for you?
Yeah, yeah. And to be honest, you know, even doing that, I still kind of get a little bit uh, bashful at times if I'm kind of not fully grounded. I mean, just the other day, I literally was in my local forest around twilight, and you know, I discovered that there are redwood trees from California in my local forest,
Amazing,
which
amazing.
I love. You know, it's like, oh my God, my people. And so I literally was such a hippie. I literally walked up to one of these trees and was hugging the tree. And you know, it was beautiful because like redwoods have this really furry bark. So I
Hmm.
was like hugging this tree, but I was really kind of there was part of me like going, someone's gonna be watching you. Somebody's gonna come along in a minute. I think you're mad. You know, it's like, oh, this is really interesting. So you know, so in terms of like rituals, ceremonies, that kind of thing, a really, really wonderful thing you can do. It's not even about necessarily rituals, it's just about practices. So like one that I really love is what you might call what I call a fox walk.
Oh,
So
right. Okay.
a fox walk is literally it's like if you get to a place in nature, you literally before you really kind of go off, and most people get to nature and just kind of go walking, and they're not even present to what's going on.
Yeah.
So a fox walk, or actually actually it's more of a medicine walk more than anything. Is like literally before you really set off, you just take a moment to just put both feet on the floor. You know, just you know. or sit on a park bench if that's the thing. Take a moment to kind of close your eyes and just breathe. Take a couple of deep breaths. In fact, let's just do that right now because it feels really nice, right?
I know you were getting me in the zone there.
So let's just do it. Let's just close our eyes for a moment. Let's just take a couple of deep breaths. So, ah, ah. And it's a really good idea when you breathe out to make that ah sound. That's great. And what that R sound does is it opens up the jaws and the throat, which just relaxes us. But it's also the sound of the heart chakra.
Oh,
It's just a way of helping to. So you get present, and then you just open your eyes and you just look around and just see what's there and just notice. You're not making a commentary on it. You're just like literally just opening. And the more you breathe, the more your senses open. And the more you become attuned to the environment. So
yeah.
what you then do is you get up if you've been sat down, or if you're stood up, you just walk very slowly. You literally just put one foot and you feel your foot on the ground, very very slowly,
Yeah.
while staying there. And then all you do is you walk very intentionally, quite slowly, but just staying very open to and attuned to. And what will happen is you'll hear more bird song. You'll see colours will be a little more vivid. Smells will be a little more vivid because you're more present.
Mm.
So you don't actually have to do any kind of big ritual or ceremony when you get there. It's just about using that vibration of unconditional love to really support becoming more present.
Oh,
As it were.
that's beautiful. Well, I hope you guys will all take that on board next time you go for a walk. um, let's see. Do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share with us today?
Yeah, I think one of the things we can do. One of the things I've been getting back to doing, which I think is another way for us to really kind of get back in tune. And I really, I really do think this is, there's a real kind of thing that's rising in us as human beings right now to really want to find, kind of come back to being whole. We're so, our attention is so kind of, you know, mixed and pulled in so many different places. And one of the ways people can kind of do that is just kind of observe observe what's going on through the seasons. So right now we're in like November. It's kind of in northern hemisphere there are very long nights and very short days. And again, there are lots of people that are very I'd rather be somewhere else. I'd rather be in the sunshine and all that kind of stuff.
Mm.
But here we are, and this has been the way this planet has operated for millions of years.
Mm.
So if we start to just observe what's going on seasonally, buying seasonal food, um, using winter evenings to actually slow down, not be working at like the pace of craziness.
Yeah.
Um, One of my favorite quotes is, we live at the speed of commerce, not the speed of human beings.
Wow.
It's about time we came back to living at the speed of human beings. So, in the evening, like not necessarily having screens on, maybe doing some reading or some craft or, whatever else. One of
Mm.
my favorite things, one of the things I've really enjoyed doing recently is turning the lights off and just living by candlelight for a while. But
Wow.
maybe one evening a week, maybe.
Wow. Okay.
But guess what? That night I sleep like a baby.
That's
And the
amazing. Sorry, you did take me back to another memory.
okay. Anything you want to talk about?
Probably not online.
Okay, fair enough. But that's the thing. We actually hold within us a lot of ancestral memory,
Yeah.
and that's how our ancestors lived. And there's a reason why lots of people are wanting simplicity again, because we live in a world where we're so overstimulated, so life's so over complex that actually sometimes what we need is some simplicity. So a lot of people find it very hard to sleep. And one of the ways you can reset that. It's very simple. Is put the screens down for an evening, like literally one evening a week. put the screens down, turn the lights down low, or if you can, light some candles, and like just read by candlelight or be with loved ones by candlelight. And actually, what it does is it resets your melatonin.
Mm,
So what that means is it really helps you sleep.
nice.
Yeah. There you go. There's my number one sleep tip for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been gorgeous to catch up with you, as it always is. And I hope a real treat for our listeners out there as well, which I know it will be. If people would like to get in touch with you, I suppose both on screen. Why did I not do that in the first place? Anyway, if people would like to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
So I'm on all social platforms as Krish Surroy.
Hmm.
My online presence in terms of website is literally just being redone right now, but will be back up within about a week or so. It's krishsurroy.com. And also, I'm just about to launch, as you said, I'm just about to launch the Sacred Wild podcast, which will be available on Spotify, Apple, all that kind of stuff. I've got some great people coming on in the space that I'm really, really excited about getting that out into the world. So, yeah.
Fabulous. Well, can't wait for all that. And yeah, well, hopefully speak to you soon. We will share all the links with you on the little bio, which I'll put up a bit later. But yeah, thank you for joining us tonight on Inspired Online.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been amazing. Always is.
Absolutely. Take care. Lots of love.
Lots of fun.